this is the second of 2 lectures regarding male reproduction. Very quickly, just breezing through this figure, I want you to notice that we're looking at structures in the brain, to include the hypothalamus, and to include the pituitary gland. And then we're also looking at the male reproductive structures of the testes. All right, so there are many components to allow for this hormonal feedback and regulation of male reproduction. But you can see that there are key hormones, and we're going to talk about each one of these. We have first gonadotrophin-releasing hormone. The next one is luteinizing hormone. Then follicle-stimulating hormone. Then testosterone and inhibin. All right? So, also, when you look at these images, I want you to notice the differences in the arrows. Red indicates stimulation, and green indicates inhibition. And again, anytime you see a dotted line means it may or may not happen. Okay, as you saw in that image, the anterior lobe of the pituitary gland releases follicle-stimulating hormone and luteinizing hormone. And those are released in response to gonadotrophin-releasing hormone. So GnRH, it's made in the hypothalamus, and then it's carried to the pituitary. And it's secreted every 60 to 90 minutes in pulses. Gonadotrophin-releasing hormone is sent to the pituitary. So the levels of gonadotrophin-releasing hormone are going to control the rates of secretion of luteinizing hormone and follicle-stimulating hormone. And remember, testosterone is made in response to luteinizing hormone. So follicle-stimulating hormone does just that. It stimulates the follicles in the seminiferous tubules, right? So it targets those cells. And those cells are going to allow for spermatogenesis to occur. They're also going to allow for the secretion of androgen-binding protein, as you can see right here. As you can see, spermatogenesis is regulated by gonadotrophin-releasing hormone, follicle-stimulating hormone, and inhibin, right? Inhibin is produced because of follicle-stimulating hormone interacting with sustenacular cells. And testosterone, as you can see over here, interacting with the sustenacular cells. It's the combination of the two that allows for the secretion of inhibin. When inhibin is secreted, it then interacts with the anterior lobe of the pituitary and possibly interacts with the gonadotrophin-releasing hormone release. When you look at inhibin is going to continue to be produced until the level of FSH returns to normal, right? If you have elevated FSH. If you have low levels of follicle-stimulating hormone, then you're going to not produce inhibin until FSH production increases. Luteinizing hormone has as its target interstitial cells, and because of that, testosterone is going to be produced. And because testosterone and other androgens, but we concentrate mainly on testosterone, because of that secretion of testosterone, all of these functions occur. Effects on the central nervous system, bone and muscle growth, the establishment and maintenance of male secondary sexual characteristics, and the maintenance of those accessory glands and organs that we talked about earlier. So the 5 functions of testosterone: stimulates the making of sperm, and it also promotes the functional maturation. It affects the central nervous system in regard to libido or sex drive and related behaviors. It stimulates metabolism, especially protein synthesis, blood cell formation, and muscle growth. And it establishes and maintains secondary sexual characteristics: facial hair, muscle mass, adipose tissue, and again, it helps to maintain accessory glands and organs. So around the 7th week of fetal development, testosterone begins to be produced. And after about 6 months, it reaches its prenatal peak. So we talked earlier about Mullerian inhibiting factor. The sustentacular cells are going to secrete Mullerian inhibiting factor that allows to the regression of those Mullerian ducts. And so that stops a male from having a uterus and fallopian tubes. That early surge that begins around the 7th week stimulates the differentiation in the male duct system and the organs, and it also affects the central nervous system. So in this crazy feedback loop, we're dealing with testosterone that programs your hypothalamus, which then controls the gonadotrophin-releasing hormone, follicle-stimulating hormone, and luteinizing hormone secretion. It also controls sexual behaviors and sex drive.